Welcome back. There was important breaking news today on health care. A federal judge in Florida ruled that the entire Health Care Reform Act is unconstitutional. Republicans were euphoric. They tripped over themselves to celebrate what they hope is the beginning of the end of health care reform. The Obama administration said it will appeal, so of course the Supreme Court will make that decision. But let's be clear. The Republicans are thrilled about a ruling that would keep in place the broken healthcare system we have now. A system where insurance companies have all the power is just dandy with the GOP. Now, here's a story about how unfair and cruel the system really is. Ronald Flanagan is a Vietnam veteran suffering from multiple myeloma. That is a particularly deadly form of blood cancer. He needed a bone marrow transplant to save his life. And luckily, he was likely to get one. But as they were about to do a biopsy on him, his wife found out that their health insurance had been voided. Now, what did they do wrong to have their insurance pulled when they needed it most? She had accidentally paid $328.67 when she should have paid $328.69. She hit the wrong button and underpaid by 2 cents. Now, of course, the insurance company jumped all over it and canceled their plan. Why? Because they care so much about the 2 cents? No, it's because they found a wonderful opportunity to avoid the costly treatment that Flanagan was about to have and that might save his life. So does that mean that Flanagan might die if he didn't get the coverage? Look, I hate to say this, but unfortunately, yes, that's what it means. But from their perspective, who cares? They're about to save a buck. You got to understand this. This is the critical part. Their only goal is to make a profit. And where do all those profits go? Well, a lot of it goes to their executives. For example, the current CEO of United Health Group, Stephen Helmsley, made $102 million in 2009. His predecessor, William McGuire, walked away from the company in 2006 with a $1.1 billion golden parachute. Look, I'm not blaming the United Health Group, and they don't have to do with this case. I'm not even blaming Ceridian Cobra Services. That's the company involved in the Ronald Flanagan case. The real problem is the system. Insurance companies are only interested in making profits. If they deny coverage to people who have a higher chance of getting sick, they make more money, period. But shouldn't someone care for the nearly half the country that has a pre-existing condition, or people in the middle class who can't afford unbelievably outrageous rates? Recently in California, they raised them by 59% for individual policyholders. And according to the Republicans, the answer to that is no. No one should care. So what happened to Ronald Flanagan? Well, after he received significant press attention, Ceridian Cobra Services, in order to avoid a public relations disaster, reversed course and said they would mercifully cover him and put him back on the bone marrow transplant list. But what about all the other Flanagans out there who couldn't get the national press to cover them? How many people have died because insurance companies wanted to save a buck? I'm telling you, we've got the wrong system. Joining me now is the family we were just talking about, Ronald Flanagan and his wife, Frances. First, Ronald, I got to ask you, how are you doing? And where are you in this whole process?
I'm doing fine. I got my bone marrow biopsy last week, and I start doing a number of tests starting tomorrow to, in fact, get my stem cell transplant within the next 2 weeks.
Ronald, when they canceled the plan, were you scared for your life?
Yes and no. I knew I was going to get some insurance somehow. We went to Colorado Blood Cancer Institute. They're the ones that are going to do the stem cell transplant, and they said, okay, we know of a place that can insure you, but it's going to take a little while. So I knew I had that to fall back on, and I also had VA insurance to fall back on. But I was afraid it might take too long to get this procedure done.
Well, time would be critical in your case, of course, and luckily you had VA insurance to fall back on. VA insurance, of course, provided by the government, a kind of a public option for vets. and so you were lucky in that regard. Francis, when they told you that they had canceled the policy based on 2 cents, were you incredulous? I mean, did you even really believe that?
I was in so much shock that I didn't know what I was going to do next. And when they told me that we no longer have insurance, I asked him, well, what am I supposed to do now? You know, my husband's just getting ready to have a biopsy, and you know, what can I do? And they just said, well, you know, you don't have insurance. It's going to come out of your pocket. So that's when I got on the elevator and went upstairs and ran into the room and notified the doctor and the nurse and my husband that we don't have insurance anymore to stop the procedure.
Francis, what I'm curious about is, like, if I'm in your position, I say to the person on the other end of the line, are you kidding me? 2 cents? Obviously it was an error. Here, I'll send you 2 cents right now. Well, what did they say when you said that?
They just said they didn't want to do, you know, that we no longer have insurance, and they, whether I sent a payment, they were going to send it back because we were canceled. And, you know, a lot of things go through your mind at that time. You know, I was just like, I was just like in awe. I could not believe this, you know. The first thing that came to my mind was I felt so guilty because of the 2 cents, the 2 cents error.
Francis, that's the thing that drives me crazy. It's not your fault. You know, they make it seem as if it's your fault. But Ronald, let me ask you that. I mean, do you think this is a simple computer error, and golly gee willikers, when they discover it, you know, God knows how many months later, whether it's too late or it's not too late, they were awfully sorry about it? Or do you think they meant to cancel it?
Oh, I think they meant to cancel it. It wasn't a computer error. They were in their rights to cancel me. And that's the sad part, is common sense just doesn't count. They were in their right and they could do it, and they had no problem doing it.
You know, Francis, you know, they talk about death panels and such if the government gets involved. In this case, it seems like it's the reverse. If you went to the VA, they're going to cover you, right? There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But if you didn't have the VA to fall back on, or another insurance to fall back on, this was your only insurance, well, aren't they almost making a decision of life and death here for you guys, the company?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they sure were. If it wasn't for the media going nuts over this, we still wouldn't have insurance through Ceridian.
Right, because initially Ceridian said, no, we have not made an error, we will not give you insurance. Only after the press coverage did they reverse their policy, right?
That's correct. And this was days fighting with them. I emailed them. They said that was another way you could try to get your insurance back, was email. So I emailed and wrote them a little letter, and well, they were nice that they came back quickly with it, but it was still, you still don't have insurance.
Yeah, unbelievable. All right, Ronald and Francis Flanagan, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I'm thrilled that you're back on insurance, and we wish you the best.
Well, thank you. There is a website for Ron's 2 cents, and that's going to be anybody who'd like to give. It's to pay forward for anybody that needs it.
All right, that's great. We got to help each other, because obviously sometimes the insurance we sign up for is not the insurance we think we're getting, and a lot of other people do need help. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.